Hey there everybody, it's Matt, and yeah, I'm back in the Philippines. I'm here in Davao City, which is exactly the same city where I was stranded when I first started this vlog, started making vlogs that is, during the pandemic. I'm sitting down at Magsaysay Park, which is a public park here devoted to the memory of Ramon Magsaysay, who was one of the presidents of the Philippines back in the 1950s. And the park also has been developed to have reconstructed buildings representing the dwellings of the different tribes that lived here, native tribes that lived in the Davao area. So they've got an educational aspect to this too. Now you're going to be hearing a lot of noise behind me, probably see some trucks go by and all that, and that's because they're building the Davao Bypass Road here behind me. Parts of it are already finished. Not open to traffic, but open to pedestrians and bicyclists and so forth. But right now, they're working on an overpass section right here in the downtown area going right by Magsaysay Park. And then you can also see behind me that land that you see back there, that is Samal Island, the Garden Island of Samal, which is a location with a lot of resorts and beaches and so forth. And it's just right across a short water crossing which you have to do by ferry at this point. You still have to get on one of the local boats to get across there, but it's only about a 10-minute ride over there. Anyway, as I was getting ready to go to the Philippines this time, lots of friends were asking me, why are you going back? I mean, this has got to be your dozen or 14th time to go back to the Philippines. And so I wanted to answer that question by talking about my 5 favorite things about the Philippines. And so let me just dive right in. Number 1, and these are not in any particular order. Sorry, let me start with number 5. Number 5 is the simple life here. I mean, life is very simple here in the Philippines. You don't really need a car. You can get around with local transportation like jeepneys and trikes and taxis. We took a 15-minute taxi ride today, cost all of about $2 to get down here. And so by American standards, it's very inexpensive to live here in the Philippines and get around. And I'll go into affordability here in a little bit. But also food. Your foods are available at local markets. Typically there's a market within a few blocks of anywhere you live here. These outdoor markets with plenty of fresh vegetables and meat and so forth. I tend to want to buy my meat though at the local supermarket where it's packaged and so forth, that I trust a little bit more. There are also, if you just need a packet of coffee or something of that sort, there's lots of these little tiny sari-sari stores, as they call them. And I'll do a video about those sometime. But they're these little markets that people set up in their homes, and they'll just knock out enough room for a little window, put bars on it, and then they will sell things like coffee and soap and detergent and toilet paper and lots of the real basics, necessities of life there. So again, life is simple here. It's very easy to get along here. Number 4, I'm gonna get my numbers mixed up here, but number 4, it would be probably the adventure quality of the Philippines here. I'm a scuba diver. There's world-class scuba diving here in the Philippines. And most of these operations have really high-class, well-trained dive masters, dive instructors, and so forth. And then the diving is inexpensive. I looked at one of the top diving locations here, and you can go and do a 3-tank day, 3 dives for under $100. And that's really, really very, very good. So you've got that kind of option. You've got other kinds of adventure things like parasailing, jet skiing. There's a place up in Pampanga where you can go fly in an ultralight. Somebody will fly you around in their ultralight aircraft. There's great hiking. Nearby here is Mount Apo, the tallest mountain in the Philippines. And there are guides that'll take you to the summit there. You can hike to the top of that. I think it's a 2-day hike. Yeah, just lots of great things here that make this a really natural wonderland. The diversity of plants and animals here are just really, really amazing. Number three, I would say, is probably the affordability. And I touched on that already. The taxis are cheap. The other day we were able to rent a car and driver for the entire day for the equivalent of about $50. And that's somebody who will drive you anywhere as long as for the whole day. It included gas, it included everything except for tolls and all. Really, really inexpensive. Food here. Most of the time I go out to a restaurant, a sit-down restaurant, my entree is going to be less than $6 or $7. And a bottle of beer, which is something I oftentimes measure places by, is less than $1. So very inexpensive. The whole week I'm staying here in Davao, I'm staying in an Airbnb, and the total cost of that Airbnb is less than $300. This is a place that's got a separate bedroom, up on the 11th floor, windows on both sides, a great view, that's got a kitchenette in it, a full cooking utensils and everything there, so we've been able to make meals there as well. Pardon me, there's a truck going across in the background here, part of the construction that's going on here. And yeah, I'm just trying to think of the other things that are really so affordable about the place. But yeah, very inexpensive here. And you can see some of the local kids are zooming around here too. So affordability, just really, really affordable. Hotels are about half the price of what you pay in the US or less, maybe 50 to 30% of the price. So it's very, very affordable. Number two would be the weather in this area. And I love the weather. I mean, right now we're in a time of the year where the temperatures are a little bit hotter. So they're getting up in the upper 90s to 100. But right now here in Davao, the temperature's staying down in the 80s and lower 90s. So that makes this a really wonderful place. You do have a rainy season during the year. That lasts for 2 or 3 months. You get some cooler temperatures then, but never does it get at night much cooler than the upper 70s. And it's generally just really, really comfortable here. So if there's anything that you need here, it's probably air conditioning. I normally come in February, March, that time period, and it is very, very comfortable during that time. And then the other thing I love about this is back home, the winters, your days can be as much as 4 to 5 hours shorter. A lot more darkness. That really gets me down. But here, you're close to the equator, so the variance in the length of the day only is about 1 hour to 2 hours, and you hardly notice when days are shorter or longer. I love the longer lit, the brighter days here, and so it really works for me. And then lastly, and I think my number one thing any day of the year would be the people here in the Philippines. The people are so kind, so polite. I'm constantly referred to as Sir Matt here. It makes me feel like I should be at the round table or something, but Sir Matt, the people are so kind. When I was here during the pandemic, everybody was worried about helping me find what I needed, whether it be medicine or food or the right paperwork to be able to go out and do things. They were really locked down here heavily during the pandemic, and people were really worried about me. So the kindness of the people is really, really tremendous, and that makes coming here always wonderful. Another thing that you find here is how they raise their children here. And children are raised to be so respectful. When a child is introduced to me, they normally take my hand and they press it against their forehead, which is a sign of respect to your elders. And particularly because I've got white hair now, and I'm not even 60 yet, but because of the white hair, people are constantly trying to guide me over to the senior line or showing me an extra level of respect, and it's just tremendous. So those are the top 5 things I would say I like about the Philippines the most. I really didn't go into a lot of detail on some of them, but hopefully that gives you some idea of what it is that attracts me here. Now, I know I've got a lot of Filipino followers here on YouTube, and I hope that you will leave messages down below. Let me know what you think other foreigners that are traveling here and watching my vlog, I'd like to know what kinds of things, whether you agree with my top 5, if there's anything else you would add to it. I'm really kind of curious. But anyway, thank you for watching today. And there's another noisy crane coming down the road, so I'm going to make this short and just simply say, get out there, keep traveling, take care. Bye-bye.